Okay, so today we are making a Meteor dodge game. I can show you an example of one of these. So here is my game. So what you're going to be doing is having a rocket ship with meteors flying around, a timer going, and then when it gets hit by an asteroid, the timer stops and the game stops and the rocket ship disappears. Okay, so to start with this, we go in like we usually do, and we create a new project. We give it a name. And we save it. Okay, and we delete this cat by clicking on the little rubbish bin. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is make a rocket. So I searched for the sprites and I just found the little rocket ship. But what needs to happen is that, I'll just make my window a little bit smaller so you can see stuff. Okay, what needs to happen is that rocket needs to be, just making my window a little bit smaller so it's all in there. Yep, that's it. Okay. So I'm gonna, for this game, the rocket needs to be horizontal. So I click on that, I click on the costumes. If you want, you can delete all these other rockets just by right clicking and deleting, and just keep the top one. What we do to select the whole thing is go Control A, okay, and it selects the whole thing. Once you've done Control A, you can get the little arrow thing to rotate around, and you want it horizontal. Okay, now that would be fine if you were going to delete all the others, but if you wanted to keep all the others, we have to make sure these are all lined up, and I'm going to line up, see that center thing there, the center, that circle? I'm going to line up this bit, the middle of this, on all of them to there, okay? So I'm just going to line up that to there. And then I'm going to do this, Control A, rotate it round, and there's my little circle, and I need it to be right there, okay? So I'm going to move it right there. I'm going to do that with all of these. Just make sure he's on the circle. Control A, rotate. Otherwise, as I said, you can just delete these and just have the one. Rotate them round, put them on the circle there. Okay, they're all rotated. Okay, so that's my rocket. Now I'm going to put some code on it. Okay, so first off, I'm going to just make it a bit smaller, so that needs to be about size there. I'm going to make that 30. If I click off it, you'll see that it's gone a lot smaller. Now when that starts, so when the green flag's clicked, I am going to have this go to the middle, and that's, remember the axis is in the middle is always 0, okay, so go to 0, 0. I'm going to put that there, so that means when the green flag's clicked, the rocket goes to the middle, and I'm going to make it show because it's going to hide when the game is over. So when it starts again, it's going to need to hide, and then forever we will get it to point towards the mouse pointer, so it's always following the mouse pointer. It's pointing towards the mouse pointer, and it moves towards the mouse pointer, so it's going to move. I'm going to make that just 5 because 10 is probably too fast, and if we test that out, here it goes. It's moving towards the mouse pointer. Now I'm also going to set, well, you don't have to do this, but this is because I've got multiple costumes in here. This is an extra little bit if you've got costumes. When green flag's clicked, forever, change the costume, next costume, and wait a tiny bit. Okay, we're going to wait 0.1. Okay, so that means when it flies around, it's going to be changing its costume all the time. Okay, so now I am going to add a little timer for the game. So I showed you the last one had a timer at the top. So that will be, we will make a variable for time, make a variable. So to show you again, I went on variables and then I clicked make a variable. I'm going to call this time. Okay, so here it is, and if that's ticked, it shows on here. Okay, if I untick that, it disappears. Tick it again, and you can move it to wherever you like. Okay, so we're going to say when the green flag's clicked, we set the time to 0. Set. Don't forget to change this, so it needs to be set time to 0. And forever will change the time, okay? It will increment it a little bit. So we're forever, we wait a tiny bit, 0.1 of a second. And then we increment the time variable, change the time variable. Don't forget to choose the time there, 0.1. So now if I test this, that time is going up. Okay. I am going to add a backdrop now, so I'm just going to go into the here, choose. I'm just going to choose the picture, and I am going to choose stars. Yep, you can choose whatever you like. I am happy with that backdrop. I think that looks good. Now what I'm going to do now is make some rocks that are going to be falling from the sky. So I'm going to choose a new sprite. Type in rock. Okay, so we've got the rock. Now what we want this to do, I need to change that to about 30% because that's quite big. Now when the game starts, what we're going to do is get the rocks to go to the top in a random position X along here, and also rotate a little bit so they all come down slightly different angles. Okay, so forever they're going to hide. When they get to the bottom they hide, and then they show at a random time. So I'm going to hide them first. And then they're going to wait a little bit at the top, and they're all going to wait random amounts, so they all come down at like sporadic intervals. I'm going to wait, and instead of putting a thing in there, I'm going to choose a random number between 0.0 and 5.0. Having the 0.0 means that it could be anything point something. It's not just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we're going to point in direction 165. So that means it's just about going downwards. Just about going downwards. Okay, but then we're also going to turn it a random amount. And I'm going to use the random picker here, and we're going to turn it anything between 0 and 30 degrees. So it won't just be coming straight down. And then we're going to set Y on this rock, set Y to, what we want it to be is Y to be right at the top here, okay? And at the top, Y is 180. So we're going to set Y to 180. Because remember, Y is 0 here, it's 180 here. So we want the rock to be up here. And then once it's there and it's in position in the right X value, okay, point in direction, turn. I need to set X So we want x to be anything between this value and this value, okay? This is 240, this is minus 240, okay? This is 0 in the middle, so we want it to be anything between that. Anything between minus 240, which is right on the left, and 240, which is right on the right. And then we want to set y to 180 and then get it to show. Okay, so that's got the rock in the position at the top there, okay? And once it shows, we then need to tell it how to come down. Okay, what to do while it's coming down. And what I'm going to do is get it to repeat, basically repeat until the y position is less than negative 160, which is about here, okay? Negative 160 is about there. Negative 180 is there, so I'm going to repeat until, here's the repeat until. And we're going to do y is less than, and as I said, negative 160, because that's negative 160 there. So we want the y position to be less than negative 160. Okay, so we want it to do it until it gets there. So what we want it to do is keep moving 10 steps while it's going down, moving 10 steps. Okay, so it's just going to keep moving 10 steps. So if I show you that, there should be some rocks. Oh, there goes one. Okay, and then it disappeared, and then it will show again at the top. There it goes. Now what I want to do is if it touches the player, it's going to broadcast a message saying game over. Okay, so I'm going to go if touching player, if touching, or touching rocket ship. If touching the rocket ship, so we're doing this on the rock, if it touches the rocket ship, broadcast, so it's a message, broadcast a message, and the message we're going to say is a new message, game over. Okay, broadcast a message, game over. And then on the rocket, I'm going to say, when I receive a message, here it is, when I receive game over, I'm going to hide. I am going to hide, and then I'm going to stop the sprites. Where's that one? I want to hide and then stop the sprites. Stop. Here we go. Stop other scripts. This is what I want. Okay, so that's going to stop all the scripts going on. So if I try this, it's going to be really hard because there's hardly any rocks. What I'm going to do is duplicate this rock. So if I go onto this and right click and duplicate, and then again, and then again, might do it one more time. Okay, so I've got 5 rocks there. I'll have another go. Need to get hit by a rock. Oh, I'm not getting hit. Aha, they're not coming up from the top. What have I done? Pick a random and change y. Change y, that's what I've done. Change y by 180. That needs to be set y to 180. Okay, so that one needs to be set y to 180. So I need to put that under there. Remove that one. Put that one back in there. Okay. Okay, so did you notice when the rock hit it, the rocket ship disappeared, okay, and it broadcast game over and it hid. We also want to stop the timer, so on the rocket, go back to the rocket, I stopped the timer with that, so that's good. Okay, test. Okay, so on the ball sprite now, what we want to do, just checking that that timer stopped. Yep, timer stopped. Let's get hit. Yep, the timer stopped. Okay, so what we want now on, we're going to add a ball sprite. Okay, so we're going to add an explosion. So if I go here to choose a new sprite, I'm going to pick the ball. Okay, so I've got the ball, and I want to, okay, so the ball is going to hide because we don't want it there, or we don't want it there when we're playing, so it's just going to pop up when the rocket gets hit. So we're going to say on game start hide, okay, and then I am going to say when it is game over, when that message is received, because on here we said game over when it hits. Here we said if touching rocket chip broadcast game over. So on here, when I receive game over, we're going to say go to the front, go to the front layer, go to the rocket ship, go to the rocket ship, so it goes right next to the rocket ship, so we want the ball to go next to the rocket ship because that's the explosion. And we are going to, so at the moment it still won't be showing. I'm going to repeat this 10 times, so it's going to make 10 clones of itself, okay? And I'm going to put in create clone of myself, so that's going to make 10 clones of itself because it's repeat 10 times. After that, it's going to wait 2 seconds and then stop everything. Okay, and that would be like the end of the game. Okay, but now we need to do this bit, which is creating a clone of itself. So I'm going to do another one, which is here. When I start as a clone, so this is basically this. When I start as a clone, I'm then going to show. So the little clone shows itself. And a clone is just when you make another version of yourself. Okay, and then we're going to point in a random position. Point in direction, so the balls go flying everywhere. I'm going to pick a random number between -180 and 180. Okay, and then I'm going to do this 10 times, so it's going to, what it's going to do is get smaller, and it's going to get smaller 10 times in the loop. Okay, so we're going to repeat 10 times, change size by 10 so it gets a little bit smaller. Change size by -10, sorry, so it gets smaller, -10, and then move 10 steps. It's going to get, what it's going to do is get smaller, move 10 steps, get smaller, move 10 steps, get smaller, move 10 steps, okay. And at the end of this, it's going to delete itself. And that is here, delete this clone. So this is what every single little clone is going to go through. If I play this, see that? So it made lots of little clones. The timer stopped, everything stopped, so that's working well. I'll play it again. There we go. Hope your game looks as good as that.